श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ अष्टमोऽध्यायः अक्षरब्रह्म योगः। So shloka number 20. परस्तस्मात् तु भावोऽन्यो व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति. So here we are telling without a break the first line. Parastasmat bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanah, like that. You can break it. Parastasmat bhavonyah avyakto vyaktat sanatanah. Grammatically it is correct, but it will become wrong in the meter because one letter will be added and it will become incorrect. So we should not chant like that, and therefore we should chant in one line without breaking and adding the a. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanah yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. So only 32 syllables should be there for this Anushtup meter. So that's why we should not add that letter by breaking. Here he's talking about another avyakta. So last time we talked about this avyakta, which was unmanifest, and it was called the Maya. From this Maya, the seed of the causal form, we said the subtle forms come into being. From the subtle forms, the gross forms come into being. So the first seed, causal form, Maya, avyaktam, all denote the same thing. But I also said that avyaktam will be used in another context, which is what he is talking about now. And he says that, okay, so what you see is called the vyaktam, which is the word. Whatever is manifested, whatever you can see, it is known as the vyaktam. Whatever was the seed form from which this things came, that is known as the avyaktam, which we cannot see. Can you see Maya? You cannot see. You say it is a seedal form. From there, this what has manifested before your eyes has come about. So that is called avyaktam. That is what we talked about in shloka number 19. But here now he says that there is one more avyaktam, which is also unmanifest. But that it's also called avyaktam because you cannot see it. What are we talking about? The Nirguna Brahman. We said that we cannot conceive it, right? To conceive it only, we are going and we are giving shape, form and all that because our minds cannot conceive it at this moment. So that is why we bring our focus to that point, to a shape, form and everything. He's talking about this avyaktam, which is again unmanifested, but it has got different properties. He gives two properties for this avyaktam, and he says that it is sanatanaha, it is eternal, and then he says na vinashyati. So all other things will be destroyed, but this will never be destroyed. Also meaning that for Maya, it will keep switching. Things will be manifest, then it will be unmanifest. But here he's talking about this unmanifest, which has no change. It is always eternal and it doesn't get destroyed. In chapter 2, reference avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitum arhasi. So it is shloka number 25, chapter 2, where he said that Atma is invisible, inconceivable and unchanging. Knowing this, you should not grieve for your body, for this body. So there he used avyaktaha, but he meant it in the form that it was beyond everything. It is not that Maya that he was talking about there. There unmanifested was used to denote the Atma. So there he used that. So in shloka number 28, when he used the avyakta, avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata, avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. Shloka number 28 in chapter 2, when he used for that Maya reference, avyakta, where he said that all created beings are unmanifest before birth, manifest in life, and again unmanifest on death. So why do you grieve for that? That time that avyaktam reference was referring to this Maya. But in shloka number 25, this avyaktam is referring to this eternal thing, which is referring to as the unmanifest. And why he wants to say this? What is the purpose of he telling there are two abhyaktams? is only that he wants to say this non-realized souls, they will go to one avyaktam, which is this Maya. When you leave the body, if you are not realized, what you will go back into the seed form. And then we will come back again. So previous shlokas he said, okay, at the time of the death, your Papa Punya account is still alive. So next Janma you will take because you are not realized. In Pralaya also, you will go back in the causal form and then your same account holds true and then you will come back. If you are unrealized, then you will have to keep going back to this unmanifested, which is Maya. But if you are realized, then you go to this Avyaktam, which is eternal. So that is the difference he wants to make. That's why he is bringing this point. So we will see the meanings. So what we have to do is to rearrange the words. Usually what we have to do is, it's called Anvaya in Sanskrit. We have to bring it to prose order. But we are not doing for all shlokas because it can get confusing. So I'm just reading in the way it is given. But this shloka we have to rearrange. So we will rearrange like this. Yaha tu tasmat avyaktat avyaktaha anyaha sanatanaha paraha bhavaha. Like that you have to arrange. That means I will just break it. Yaha tu tasmat avyaktat avyaktaha. So the words, if you see, yaha means the who, tasmat, than that. So whatever than that, avyaktat avyaktaha. So he is using two terms here. We have to be very careful. Avyaktat is referring to the Maya. And avyaktaha is referring to the Brahman. So what is different from the Maya, which is unmanifested, is another unmanifested. He is talking about the Brahman, which is Sanatanaha Paraha Bhavaha, which is Sanatanaha, which is eternal, and Paraha Bhavaha. Paraha meaning it has got a different nature. Paraha Bhavaha. Saha Sarveshu Nashyatsu Bhuteshu Na Vinashyati. Saha Sarveshu Bhuteshu means that Sarveshu Bhuteshu, all the beings. Sarveshu means all, Bhuteshu means beings. Nashyatsu means they will cease to exist. Na Vinashyati. It never annihilates. So what never annihilates? This eternal Brahman, it never changes. It is Sanatanaha and it never perishes. I am talking about that unmanifest, which is different from this other unmanifest, which is this Maya. Like that he is making the point here. So Yaha means the who, Tu means but, Tasmat, than that. Avyaktat means we said it is the Maya. Avyaktaha means we said that is the Brahman. Both are referring to the unmanifested. Anyaha, it is another, and Sanatanaha, it is eternal. Paraha Bhavaha, it is of different nature. And Saha Sarveshu Nashyatsu Bhuteshu Na Vinashati. Saha, that Sarveshu Nashyatsu Bhuteshu. Sarveshu Nashyatsu Bhuteshu means all perishable beings. Na Vinashati. Just like all the perishable beings, this will not be destroyed. Like that he said. So the general translation becomes, transcendental to this manifest and unmanifest creation, there is yet another unmanifest, eternal dimension. This realm does not cease even when others do. So now shloka number 21. Avyaktoakshara ityuktaha tamahuh paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So here he is saying that when you reach this place, moksha or this Brahman, then there is no return. What is he talking about here? Is he is talking about Videha Mukti. We saw that there are three types of muktis. One is the Krama Mukti, sequential liberation that we are talking about. But all other chapters are talking about this Jivan Mukti. You want to be liberated when you are living here. That is called Jivan Mukti. And when you are a Jivan Mukta, you will not come back. That is called Videha Mukti. You will have no body. So he is talking about Videha Mukti here. So he says, Avyaktaha aksharaha iti yuktaha. So Avyaktaha, what is he talking about this Avyakta? This is the Brahman. Aksharaha. Whenever he uses the word Akshara, it must be the Brahman. So aksharaha, it is imperishable. Iti uktaha, thus is being said. Tamahuhu paramam gatim. That ahuhu is called parama, the supreme gatim, destination. That is called the supreme destination. Yam prapya na nivartante. Yam, which prapya, having reached, na, never, nivartante, they don't come back. So that which having reached, you don't come back. If you go to that unmanifested, which is the Brahman, you do not come back. Tadhama paramam mama. That abode, paramam, is supreme and it is mine. Mama is mine. So that is my supreme abode. That is where you have to reach, and when you reach there, you will never come back. The general translation is, that unmanifest dimension is the supreme goal, and upon reaching it, one never returns to this mortal world. This is my supreme abode. So what he is talking about in shlokas 20, 21 and 22 is, what is this goal? That is what he is saying here. That he said that I will talk in the 11th shloka, he said, Yadaksharam Veda Vidaha Vadanti, what the scholars of the Vedas talk about, all that he said, and we said we will see in 20 to 22. That's what he is talking about. What is the goal of this moksha? So shloka number 22, continuing on the same topic. Purushassa parah partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. So here, due to bhakti, one attains moksha. Like that he says. So now the question comes, if you are saying due to bhakti I can attain moksha, then why are you talking about jnana? You said I have to do jnana yoga, I have to do karma yoga, then jnana yoga, and then nididhyasanam, meditation of the Nirguna Brahman, all those things you are telling, but you are saying that the bhakti only will lead to moksha. So what is it being talked about? Bhakti is very confusing actually. So the correct way to describe bhakti is known as, he is saying here, ananyaya bhakti. That means undivided bhakti. So what is being described here is, okay, so how it will be is, first stage, you have these desires and you want God to fulfill those desires. So there is a devotee and there is a goal. Goal is your priority and you use God to reach that goal. So there are three different entities here. Devotee, God as an instrument, goal. So this will be your first step of bhakti. You go and pray, I want this, I want that, I will do this puja, like that. That will be your first bhakti, but you'll have three divisions. And then the second type of bhakti will come. After practicing this kind of bhakti, you will realize that no, I don't need to ask God for anything. It is okay. The way it is, what He has provided me is fine. That kind of contentment will come. So that then you will have this Nishkama Bhakti. And then at that point, there will be only two divisions. There will be you and there will be God, the instrument, and God will be the goal. The goal itself will become God. These two things have merged. So you have only two entities at this point when you have Nishkama Bhakti. And then when you are talking about Ananyaya Bhakti, what happens is, which is known as a Jnana Rupa Bhakti, the Advaita Bhakti, which is being talked about, is that there is no division between you, the instrument, and the goal. So there is total merger. At that point, you say that you have undivided bhakti. So to get that, you must need jnana also, of who you are, who is this Ishvara. All the jnana must also come in. Preparatory phase is that you must purify your mind. If you do not purify your mind, this knowledge will not sit with you. So that is why purification of the mind only comes through bhakti, through dhyana and all those practices. That is why that is emphasized. And then you are striving towards this undivided bhakti, which is the final and the ultimate bhakti. And here again, the parvation is being talked about. The parvation will be talked about in so many places, 3 different places at least it is being talked about. Yena sarvam idam tatam. All this is pervaded by this. Yena sarvam idam tatam. This exact phrase is repeated in 3 times. 2.17. Avinashitu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. vinashamavvyayasya na kaschit kartumarhati, where he says that that which pervades his entire body, know it to be indestructible. No one can cause the destruction of this imperishable. So there, yena sarvamidam tadam, this pervasion, everything is pervaded by this Ishvara, or you can also call it the Brahman. Pervasion is happening. And then 18.46 also, yena sarvamidam tadam will be mentioned. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam, yena sarvamidam tatam, swakarmana tamabhyarcha, siddhim vindati manavaha. So over there he says, by performing one's natural occupation, one worships the creator from whom all the entities have come into being and by whom the whole universe is pervaded. By such performance of work, a person easily attains perfection. So this is something to be remembered, that everything is Ishvara. Like this pervasion is happening. That is what he's talking. And this point we will take in chapter number 9. This will continue. That I pervade the waves. I being water pervade all the waves. Meaning I being the Brahman. I pervade everything in this universe, including you. You are just name and form. Like that, we will see later in chapter 9. But so we will see the meanings. Purushaha saha paraha partha. So, O Partha, O Arjuna, saha paraha purushaha. That paraha means the greatest purusha or this entity that we are talking about. Bhaktya labhyaha tu ananyaya. Ananyaya is what we said is undivided. Without an another is the exact definition of it. There is no second. There is no second principle other than this one Brahman. You are not different from this Brahman. That is the greatest bhakti that you can have. Because if you acknowledge that you are there and this Brahman is there, there is division. You are nothing but this Brahman. It is this Ananyaya Bhakti, which is the undivided Bhakti. Through devotion, Bhaktya Labhyaha is attainable through Ananyaya Bhaktya, through undivided devotion. Yasya antaha sthani bhutani, yasya of whom antaha sthani, situated within, bhutani is the beings, yena sarvam idam tatam. So yena, by whom, sarvam, all, idam, this is pervaded. Tatam, it is pervaded. Know that your body, everything in this universe is pervaded with this one entity. Like that he wants you to know. And when you realize that, then it becomes this undivided devotion. Till then, you are progressing. You are moving from one stage to another. You purify your mind, get that knowledge, then you will get this undivided bhakti. General translation is, the supreme divine is greater than all that exists. Although it is all pervading and all beings are situated in it, he can be known only through undivided devotion. So in Avadhuta Gita, it is said, Ishvaranugrahadeva Pumsam Advaita Vasana. Through the grace of God alone, the desire for non-duality arises in the wise to save them from great fear. From this kind of a bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti only, the person practiced for a long time. In this Janma, maybe in the previous Janma is practiced, and the interest comes for this kind of an Advaitic knowledge. So that has been said in Avadhuta Gita, that from the grace of God alone it has come. So he has practiced this, the other types of bhakti, and his mind is purified. And from that, the desire for non-duality arises in him. So we will have a brief recap from shloka number 15 of chapter 8. In shloka number 14, Ananya Cheta Satatam, like that what he said was, throughout the chapter, what has he been saying? At the time of death, you should be in a position, or you should have practiced enough to remember me. So in order to remember me at the time of death, your whole life you must have practiced in remembering me. That is the basic substance of this whole chapter. And when you remember me at the time of the death, then you will get a very good next gati. The where you will go will be in a good place. So that is what he is teaching here. And in shloka number 15, he starts to talk about the moksha and the samsara swarupam, or the nature of both the liberation and that of the samsara, or this bondage, this world. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanah samsiddhim paramam gata. So what did he say? Mamupetya punarjanma napnuvanti. Like that he says. Who? Samsiddhim paramam gataha. So the great souls, Mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. So the great souls, the Mahatmas, when they have reached me, they will never come back and take a birth. They will be freed from bondage. And he also gave the description about the samsara, which is bondage. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Dukkhalaya means it is full of sorrow. Maybe you will say it's not full of sorrow, but definitely there is sorrow. One time you will be happy, one time you will be sad. So this cycle will continue. And ashashvatam. Nothing is permanent here. Even the best of the things will go away. So he gave these two descriptions. And that's why these Mahatmas don't bother about these things, and then they try to reach the perfection. After having attained that, they will not come back. Like that he said. So that was shloka number 15. And shloka number 16. Abrahma bhuvanal lokaha punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. So here he wants to tell you, or he wants to reaffirm the impermanence that is in this world. So he says, Abrahma bhuvanat. That means up to the Brahma Loka, all these worlds are perishable. If you think that, okay, I will do good deeds, I will do my karma, I will do everything properly, with that, the possibility is only to go to the good lokas. That is very good. But the thing is, it is impermanent. So up to the Brahma Loka, he says, is impermanent. In Brahma Loka, there is a possibility of Krama Mukti. You will get the liberation and you can be liberated. So that's why he says, Abrahma Bhuvanat Lokaha. So all these worlds are perishable. Punaravartin Arjuna. You will have to come back, O Arjuna. Mamupetya tu kaunteya. But having attained me, O Arjuna, punarjanmana vidyate, you will not have another birth again. So try to go in this path, because you don't want to be caught up in this bondage. That is what he is saying here in this shloka 16. Shloka number 17. Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. So here he is talking about the Brahma's day and the Brahma's night. Why he needs to talk about Brahma's day and Brahma's night? Because he says that, okay, even if you think that in Pralaya or the partial destruction happens after Brahma's day, okay, that time I will be liberated. I don't need to put any effort into this. Why should I put effort? Every being is going to be liberated at that time. So Krishna says, no, that doesn't happen like that. After Pralaya, you will come back. Your Papa and the Punya accounts will be still there. And based on that, you will again take births depending on your Papa and the Punya. So that's why he says, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Day of Brahma is 1000 Divya Yugas. The night of the Brahma is 1000 Divya Yugas. So at the time of this one day of the Brahma, the Pralaya happens. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. So that's what he says. Ahaha. Means the day of the Brahma is such, and the night of the Brahma is also equal to the same time. Brahmanaha viduhu. That means he says the wise people know this. What they know? They know that after the Brahma's day, if you are not liberated, you have to come back. That's what the wise people know. Ahaha ratra vidaha janaha. So those who know the day and the night like this of the Brahma, they are the wise people. Like that he said. In order to point out that if you know this, that you are going to come back even after the Pralaya, then you will put effort into the practice of liberation. Shloka number 18. Avyaktadvyaktaya sarvaha प्रभवन्त्यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसंज्ञके. So here he talks about this Vyakta and the Avyakta. Avyaktat Vyaktayah Sarvaha. Vyaktayah means what is visible or what we are able to conceive with our senses. That is the Vyaktayah that he is talking about. And it is coming from that Avyaktat, like from the Avyaktaha. That is the Maya. So all the things, it is coming from the causal or the seed form, which is a Maya, and it is becoming conceived by our senses. Whatever is seen, whatever is heard, all these things, it becomes apparent. And Sarva Prabhavanti. Daytime, what happens is, from the seed form, everything will become apparent, like it will become manifested. After the day, it will go back into the seed form. Prabhavanti. So it emanates, ahaha agame. From the day it will emanate, and ratri agame praliyante. They will dissolve back into the night. Tatraiva vyakta sangyake. That means this is what it is called as unmanifest, is the avyakta. Like that, he talked about the Maya in this shloka. In shloka number 20, he is going to talk about another avyakta, which is the Brahman. Shloka number 19. Bhutagramasya evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vashaf partha prabhavatyah ragame. So Bhutagramasya evayam. See, these multitude of beings, definitely what happens is they repeatedly keep taking birth. Bhutva bhutva. They have to keep repeatedly taking birth because of that papa and the punyas. Then, so they will come into existence, and then in the night time, praliyante ratri agame. So during the night time, they will go back. And how? Avashaha. Don't think you are such a great person. You cannot control anything. Helplessly, they are coming into existence and going out of existence. That is the nature of all of us. Partha prabhavanti ahaha agame. So this is what he is saying here. That they helplessly come into existence and they go back into the seed form. So this is happening again and again. Bhutva bhutva. Shloka number 20. Parastasmattu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyate. Talks about another avyakta. Yaha tu tasmat avyaktat avyaktaha anyaha. Like that you have to see. Is that there is another avyakta which is different. Paraha bhavaha. It is different. And it is anyaha, it is another one. What qualities it has? This Brahman, the avyakta that he is talking about, he is saying that it is sanatanaha. So it is eternal, and saha sarveshu nashyatsu bhuteshu na vinashyati. It is different because all the other beings will perish, but this will not perish. What is this entity? This is also called avyaktam, and which is called the Brahman. It is different from that of the Maya. Shloka number 21. Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahuh paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So he says, Avyaktaha aksharaha iti yuktaha. Aksharaha means it is imperishable. That is what is said. This avyakta that he is talking about in the shloka is the Brahman. Tamahuhu paramam gatim. That is the final destination of all of us. Yam prapya nani vartante. Having reached, the person does not come back. Tadhama paramam mama. So Krishna is talking about himself as the most supreme. So having reached me, thus Brahman, they will not come back. Like that he is saying. So this is, they are talking about Videha Mukti that we saw. We had explained that earlier. Shloka number 22. Purushasta paraf partha bhakyalabhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. He says, what is the way to attain this? You say that this is avyaktam, it is imperishable, and we have to reach it, and this is a final destination. So how should we reach it? So he gives here, he says, Purushaha sa paraha partha. This Purusha is the highest or the greatest entity, paraha partha, bhaktya labhyaha tu ananyaya. So you can only attain this by ananyaya bhakti. Ananyaya bhakti means there is never a second. There is nothing else other than this one. Like that, when you have the bhakti, when you realize that everything is just one and it is just shape and form of this Brahman, that is the Ananyaya Bhakti. That will be the highest knowledge that you have. When you get that kind of a knowledge, and then you will be realized. You will be a realized soul. Syanta sthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tata. So he says here that it is what that pervades everything. It is the water that pervades all the waves. When you say a wave, we are looking at the wave as a shape and a form, but isn't it water? Similarly, this Brahman, it pervades everything, and everything in this universe is just shape and form, Nama Rupa. That like that he gives the knowledge. In chapter 9, we will continue on this topic again. So shloka number 23, this is from where today we have to start. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginaha prayatayanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshabha. So here he says that he is going to tell what will be the destination of the people who have led a dharmic life, people who have done upasana, that is, thought about the Saguna Brahman all their life. So all these situations, all these scenarios, he's going to say what will be their destination. If you have done this kind of an act, what will be your destination? Like that he is going to say. Here, Kale, that word will be used, but Kale actually means the path. It should not be confused with the time. Two paths he is going to talk about, because in shloka number 27, he is going to clarify, mentioning the word Sriti, which means the path specifically. So here the Kala that he is talking about means two paths he is talking about. And then he will talk about one path where there will be return and one path where there will be no return. So these are the two paths he is going to talk about. And how do you go to the path of non-return and what leads to the path of return? That also he is going to say. So 23 to 27, he is going to elaborate on this topic. The path of return is when people are doing good karmas. They will do their work properly. They will be dutiful. They will do a lot of charity. All those things when they are doing, they will go in the next shlokas he is going to say, they will go in one path. But after their punya is finished, then they will have to come back. If you have a certain amount of money in your bank, when that money finishes, you cannot spend on anything else, right? Like that, this punya, when this account is depleted in the Swarga, wherever you go, you did good acts, you went, but still you have to come back later. So that is one path. And the other path is that this person, we said, he has thought about God, he has done upasana, he has remembered the Saguna Brahman, then he left his body, but he couldn't do the Jnana Yoga. He will go to Brahmaloka. He will have the chance to go to Brahmaloka. In Brahmaloka, he will get the Jnana and then he will not return. So these are the two paths that he is going to talk about. We will see the meanings. Yatra kale tu anavrittim. Then again avrittim, like that they have written. So we have to read it as Yatra kale prayataha yoginaha anavrittim yanti. Yatra kale prayataha yoginaha avrittim yanti. So the path in which the yogis will come back. Second, one more is the path in which the yogis will not come back. Like that we have to read. So yatra means where, kale path, to anavrittim, of non-return, anavrittim, avrittim, return, also, yoginaha, the yogi or the sadhaka, the person who is practicing, prayataha, having departed, yanti, attain. So the path that these people will attain, tam kalam, that kalam, that path, vakshyami. I shall describe to you basically the two paths, where in one in which the person will return back, the other in which the yogi will not come back. So the yogi will come back in one path, the other yogi will not come back. Arjuna, Bharatarshava, oh the best of Bharatas. Like that he said. The general translation is, I shall now describe to you the different paths of passing away from this world, O best of Bharatas, one of which leads to liberation and the other leads to rebirth. After enjoying celestial pleasures, they again return to this earth. Okay, shloka number 24. Agnir jyotiraha shuklaha षण्मासा उत्तरायणम् तत्र प्रयाता गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म विदो जनाः. Here he talks about one specific path where there will be no return, the path to Brahmaloka. The yogis thought about God their whole life. At the time of death also they think about God, and then they will go in this bright path. So this path, actually, what they are talking about, Agnihi, Jyotihi, Ahaha, they are all the devatas which will take you in this path. There will be like how we have tourist guides, right? Go here, go there, like that. After we leave this gross body, there will be devatas to guide us, which is governed by these devatas who are going to be these guides for us. So Agnihi, so the devatas are the Agni, the fire devata, Jyoti, the light devata, Ahaha, the devata for the day, and then Shukla Paksha. That is the period of the waxing of the moon, when the moon is on the rise, like when it grows. Shukla Paksha and Uttarayana. So the period from January mid to July mid, and this devata governing that period. And Dakshinayanam, as we know, is the period from mid-July to mid-Jan. So that is Dakshinayanam. Here we are talking about Uttarayanam. So the people who are going in this bright path, Uttarayanam, so these people will go to the Brahmaloka. So we'll see the meaning. Agnihi Jyotihi. Agnihi is the fire, Jyotihi is the light, Ahaha is the day, and Shuklaha is the bright fortnight of the moon. Shatmasaha is the 6 months. Uttarayanam, of the northern course of the sun, which we said is the mid-Jan to mid-July. And then Tatra Prayataha Gachanti. So there, Prayataha, those who departed, Gachanti, go. Brahma here means Brahmaloka. Brahma Vidaha Janaha. So people who are these yogis, Brahma Vidaha, they will go to the Brahmaloka, or you can also take it as the people who are striving, they will go finally to the Brahman from the Brahmaloka. Going to the Brahmaloka, getting the knowledge, then they will go. Like that also it can be taken. The general translation is fire, light, daytime, the bright half of the moon, and the 6 months of the northern path of the sun. Then going forth, the knowers of Brahman go to Brahman. 25. Dhumo ratristatha Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi Yogi Prapya Nivartate. So here he is talking about the other path, which is the dark path. The devatas he is talking about is Dhumaha, the devata of smoke, Ratrihi, the devata of night, Krishnaha, the dark fortnight of the moon, and Shatmasaha, the 6 months, Dakshinayana, of the southern course of the sun. And who are these people who are going to go? People who have led a dharmic life. They have done punya. Other people will go to hell. Then you will get this punya and you will go in this path. But there will be return. You'll see the meanings. Dhumaha is the smoke, Ratrihi is the night, Tata, and Krishnaha, the dark fortnight of the moon, Shatmasaha, the 6 months, Dakshinayana. So this is called the southern course of the sun. And Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi. Chandramasam is coming by the lunar light. It will be the light of the moon. Jyotihi, that light. Yogi prapya, the yogi will attain nivartate. He will come back. This yogi will come back. The general translation is smoke night, the dark half of the moon, and the 6 months of the southern passage of the sun. Then going forth, the yogi obtains the lunar light and returns. Here the time we should not take. It is only in this path they are going, governed by these devatas. So 2 clarifications need to be given. One is the question, does the time of departure determine our path after life? So as I said, it is not true. That's what has been debated and concluded in the Brahma Sutras. So what is very important is the type of life you lead. And if the life you lead is completely pure and it is spiritual, then only a good destination, even if you pass away in the Dakshinayanam, doesn't matter. Like that it was concluded. The other question is also what happens after death, which we have seen in chapter 2, but let's recap a little bit. So who goes after death? So this Jivatma itself, has what is known as the Atma. So the Atma, according to Advaita Vedanta, is just the same as that of the Brahman. So all animate and inanimate objects will be pervaded by this Atma. So obviously, we also have the Atma. And what happens, why it makes the object as animate and inanimate? We have another thing which is known as the Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira will have all your Papa and Punya, your bank account basically. So we have Karana Sharira. Because of the Papa and Punya, what vasanas we had in the previous birth, like suppose I had a vasana that I love bananas in this birth, I will carry with me that vasana to the next janma also. So all those things will be stored. Because of that, my Sukshma Sharira or the subtle body, the mind, intellect, etc. are created. And then after that, my body also is based on our Papa and Punya only. So then the body, which is a stula, the gross body, is created. So 3 things are there. Causal body, Karana Sharira, which is the cause for this birth actually. And then the Sukshma Sharira, which is a subtle body, mind, intellect, etc. And then the gross body, the Stula Sharira. So we have the Atma, we have the 3 Shariras. But what happens is, the mind is like a reflective medium. How there is a shiny glass, like that it can reflect the Atma. So the reflection of this Atma happens in the mind, and this is known as the Chidabhasa. It is only a reflection, but because of this reflection only, we do everything. The awareness, the intelligence, all this is created by this reflection only. So what will happen after death is that you will leave your gross body. That is obvious. So the gross body will not go with you. What will go with you is basically your Karana Sharira, which is a causal body, and the Sukshma Sharira, which is your subtle body. And then you will have the Chidabhasa, the reflection will also go. So all these things will go, and you will take another body known as the Jala Sharira. Atma, will it go? Atma will not go. It is pervasion. Atma has no space to go anywhere. In inanimate objects, this reflection in the mind is not happening. That's why even though the Atma part is there, it does not become intelligent or it doesn't become aware or conscious. So that is only the difference. And we will leave this gross body and we will take another body. So that's what happens during death. So shloka number 26. Shukla Krishne Gati Hyete Jagata Shashvate Mate Ekaya Yatyana Vrittim Anyaya Vartate Punaha. Ekaya Yatyana Vrittim Anyaya Vartate Punaha. He has talked about the 2 paths. Now, we will see a little bit about who goes in these paths. So, the person who is doing the duties, he can be divided into 2. We call him the karmi. Sakama karmi and nishkama karmi. Sakama karmi means the people who want the results of their karma. I am doing this puja, I want this. Like that, when person is doing such kind of acts, he is called a sakama karmi. But nevertheless, because he has done good acts, he will go to heaven. So this person will go in the dark path that we talked about. The other kind of karmi, the person who is doing his job, is the nishkama karmi, who is a karma yogi. He doesn't want anything. He is just living a selfless life and he dedicates everything to God. Those next chapters he will say, whatever you drink, whatever you do, everything you do is an arpana to me. In Shivamanasa Puja also we saw, even walking, let it become a pradakshina for you. Talking, let it become as though I am telling shlokas for you, like that he said. So this person will be leading such a life, and it will be a life of purity, even though he is engaged in all the activities, he is taking care of his children, he is going and earning the money, but there will be purity of mind. When this purity of mind comes, then he will be interested in getting higher knowledge, and he will be interested in moving in the spiritual path. Unless the purity of mind comes, the urge to go in the spiritual path will never come. So circumstances will come, the resources will come, everything will happen when you are doing things in the nishkama way. So in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is said that such kind of a person who is doing karma yoga, his punya will go up to the stage of shravana of the jnana yoga, that he will get this great opportunity to listen to the scriptures. Otherwise, even the inclination to listen to the scriptures will not come. Only if you have done previous punyas that you will want to listen to good things in life. So that is why nishkama karma yoga. So we divided into two. Then the upasaka. Upasaka, as we said, he meditates on the Saguna Brahman, the God with shape and form. So what happens? He also can be divided into two, sakama and nishkama. So sakama means he will get the punya. When he will meditate on the God, he will definitely get the punya and he will go to the higher abodes. If he does in the nishkama way, then again he will get the purity and he will get the qualifications to go in the jnana yoga. We talked about fourfold qualifications which was very necessary to go in the path of jnana yoga. Because even if the knowledge is given to you, if you are not qualified, if you have not passed second standard, if you go to third standard, it will be very hard. So you need to get the qualifications for the spiritual study. Well, let's recap what the qualifications were. It was viveka, discrimination. So we know right from wrong. That ability will come. Vairagya, dispassion for impermanent things. When knowledge has come to you, you will know, okay, this is unnecessary thing. I don't need it. Like that dispassion will come. Mumukshutvam, intense desire for liberation. It will become so compelling that, no, I want only this in my life. Like that, the state of mind will be. Then we talked about the Shat Sampatti, which had another 6 things in it. Shamaha, which was the mind control. Damaha, which is the sense control. Then Uparati, continued control of the senses and the mind. Titiksha, patience. Shraddha, faith. And Samadhana, fixation on the goal. All these qualities are needed to do the further study. So once you get purity in such a way, when you do things without requiring a benefit from it, you will get purity of the mind. Once you get the purity of the mind, you will progress spiritually very easily. When something is told to you, you will immediately grasp it because the purity of mind is there. That's what has been said. And then there is also this adharmi, the person who will not be interested in shastras, he will not be interested in reading the scriptures, he will waste his time. For him, it is said adogati, all bad results. He will go to bad lokas. And then he will have to then work his way up. If you slip down, then you have to make the effort to come up, right? So like that, it will happen. Then we also saw Yoga Brashta in chapter 6. What was this Yoga Brashta? This Yoga Brashta, in this life, he did Jnana Yoga, but he didn't have the time to complete and realize. This person, what happens? He is born again, but he is born in good families which have all these values. They have realized people, they are people who do not want much in their life. Like that, they will be born in such families. And from there, he will continue in the spiritual path. He will get the environment where he can continue. So that will happen to the Yoga Brashta. And then the Jnani, what will be his gati? What will be his fate? It is said agati. Agati means there is no path. He will not go in any path. He will just be liberated. Here, when we say he is going in the dark path, the Krishna Paksha, we're talking about the Sakama Karmi and the Sakama Upasaka. And then the Nishkama Upasaka, he will get the qualifications and he will go to the Brahma Loka. He will get the qualification here, he will go to Jnana Yoga like that, or if not, he will go to Brahma Loka. So how many things we have seen? Karmi divided into two, Sakama and Nishkama, Upasaka, Sakama and Nishkama, Adharmi, then Yoga Brashta, and then Jnana. We will see the meaning. Shukla is the bright and Krishna is the dark. Gatihi. So there are two paths he is saying. Iyete. So there are these two paths. Jagataha Shashvate Mate. Jagataha of the material world. Shashvate. It is eternal. Mate. Opinion. Ekaya Yati. By one. Yati. Anavrit. One does not return. Anyaya. The other one. Avartate punaha. So he will come back. Avartate punaha. Again he will come back. So two paths are there. One in which you will come back, one in which you will not come back. The dark path, we said it belongs to the Sakama Upasakas and the Sakama Karmis. Whereas the person who has done the Nishkama Upasana with having a little bit of Vairagya dispassion, he has a chance to go to Brahma Loka, from there pursue his spiritual journey. So that is the bright path. General translation is, these two bright and dark paths always exist in this world. The way of light leads to liberation and the way of darkness leads to rebirth. Sloka number 27. Naite sruti partha janan yogi muhyate kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. So here he is saying that, line he says that such a person will not be deluded. This yogi will not be deluded and he knows which path he has to take. And second, he gives advice for Arjuna. Therefore, always be a yogi. Think of me always. Like that, he's giving advice to Arjuna. So a person will not be deluded meanings what? Delusion meaning what? Thinking that your temporary goal is your permanent goal. The instrument is your primary goal. Like what? We need money. But the money will become the primary goal. Instead of an instrument to serve others, instead of the instrument to do good things, if it becomes your primary goal, that is called delusion. If in yoga, it is supposed to take you to liberation. But if you are doing only for health, that is not the final destination. You need good health for pursuing a spiritual life. That is why you ask for these things. This should not be the primary focus of the life. It should all be used, your body, mind, your surroundings, everything should be used in good purpose. Only then God will give us more and more to do good things and to proceed in the spiritual path. So this is delusion. So Adi Shankaracharya says, Samahita Manaha. When a person's mind does not keep wandering, or this Vikshepa we say is that without disturbance. When the mind is very much disturbed, then you are not in the right path. When you have clarity of thinking, then you know that you yourself can make out, yes, I am going in the right path, because you don't have like too much of disturbance in your mind. So that is also, the person is not deluded also means like this, that your mind is very, very peaceful and it is pure and without disturbance. Na yete. Never yete, these two, Sriti. See, he's mentioning parts only. Parts, Sriti, Partha, O Arjuna, Janan, knowing. Knowing these two parts, Yogi Muhyati Kaschana. The Yogi, Muhyati means he bewildered, Kaschana means never. He is never bewildered, this Yogi. Because what? He knows what is what. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu. Therefore, Arjuna, please always. Tasmat. Tasmat is big tasmat. Therefore, Sarveshu Kaleshu, always, Yoga Yuktaha Bhava Arjuna. Yoga Yuktaha means be situated in this yoga. Do upasana. Try to go to Brahma Loka. Be in the good path. Always try to keep this as your goal. O Arjuna, don't deviate from this. Because if you deviate from this, what will happen? You will fall. And it's very difficult to pull yourself up. Arjuna, please be a yogi. Like that he is saying. So the general translation is, yogis who know the secret of these two paths, O Arjuna, are never bewildered. Therefore, at all times, be situated in yoga. 28 is again Trishtup meter. Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. So here he is giving the palastuti. It is said that even listening to this chapter, really giving a lot of punya, then leave alone understanding this chapter and spending time in this chapter. The palastuti, Krishna is saying that what is done in the action, more than that difficult is things which is done in the mind. So a lot of punya will go to a person who is remembering God in his mind. And in Chandogya Upanishad, it is said that the upasana palam is greater if you do, rather than doing a puja, if you do upasana, the palan will be greater. So what Krishna is saying here is, such a yogi, so much more than the study of the Vedas, Vedeshu, then Yagneshu, more than the performance of the sacrifices, then Tapahasu, more than the performance of the austerities, Daneshu, more than giving the charities, meditating on me gives more rewards, or it gives more palan. If you do in the sakama way, if you want palan also, this will give you more rewards. If you say that, no, I don't want anything, all I want is purity of mind, you take care of me, like that if you do, also the fruits of it will be very great. That's what Krishna is saying here. We'll see the meanings. Vedeshu, in the study of Vedas. Yagneshu, in the performance of the sacrifices. Tapahasu, in the austerities performed. Then Daneshu, in the charities. Yat punya phalam pradishtam. That means pradishta means gain. Yat punya phalam. Whatever the fruits, the great fruits are obtained. Atyeti, it surpasses everything. Tat sarvamidam. All these things it surpasses, viditva, having known, yogi, the yogi, param sthana. So he reaches the supreme abode, or he reaches the supreme destination. Upaiti, he achieves chadyam. The original, adyam means original and the supreme destination he obtains. So this person will reach the Brahmaloka, then from there he'll be liberated, like that you can say, or he reaches the supreme destination of this Brahman. Like that you can say. So the general translation is, the yogis who know the secret gain merit far beyond the fruits of Vedic rituals, the study of the Vedas, performance of the sacrifices and austerities and charities. Such yogis reach the supreme destination. We'll close the chapter. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita-Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Akshara Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamo Dhyayah Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu. So we will go through a very brief summary of the chapter, just what each sloka talks about. So in chapter 8, the focus is Upasana. What is Upasana? Meditating on the Saguna Brahman. And about Krama Mukti. So this kind of Upasaka, when he thinks about God at the time of death, as a consequence of having thought about God throughout his life, he will reach the Brahmaloka. In Brahmaloka, he will further pursue his spiritual journey and he will be liberated. So that is what the chapter is about. So in first two shlokas, 7 terms were asked by Arjuna: the Brahman, Adhyatmam, Karma, Adhibhutam, Adhidevam and Adhiyajnam, for which Krishna answered in shlokas 3 to 4. 6 terms he answered very briefly, And then later he elaborated on the seventh term, which was the Antakala Smarana. For the seventh term, he gave a lot of explanation from shlokas 5 to 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, and so on. Then he said the further destiny will be decided by the thought at the time of death. But to remember at the time of death, we must think of God all times during the life. Only then it will become a practice, and then at the time of the death. Otherwise, you will be thinking about your money in the bank, your grandchildren, all those things. Then what is happening? Your future is decided by this. So you pay attention to it. You can think of anything you want, but do you want a good future? Do you want a good destiny? Then you must act for it. Then shloka 9 to 10, he gave the Parabrahma Lakshanam, Kavim Purana Manushasitaram, both Saguna and Nirguna Brahman he talked about. And in shloka 11, he gives the Moksha Lakshanam, shlokas 20 to 22. But in shloka 11, Yadaksharam Veda Vidaha Vadanti, like that he said that what is the goal for these people, for these brahmacharis, for these people who are reading the Vedas, what is the goal? But he says that in 20 to 22. Then 15 to 19, he talks about the moksha and samsara swarupam. It's the two, and he talked about it. And then he said the body was dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It was the place full of miseries and it is impermanent, like that he said. And then 20 to 22, he talked about the moksha lakshanam, yadgatvanani vartante, like that he said. That means you will not come back, and how you will obtain it? Ananyaya bhaktya, like without a division. When you know that there is only one, and that one pervades everything. When you go to that highest knowledge, when you do not see any difference, when you only know that everything is a manifestation of this one reality, and it is just mere names and forms. When you get that kind of a knowledge, then you will be realized. 23 to 27, two gatis he talked about, the Shukla Gati and the Krishna Gati, the bright path and the dark path. Shukla is the bright, Krishna is the dark path. So, and he talked about who will go in which. The Upasaka and the Karmis will go in the Krishna Gati, the dark path, when they do the things in the Sakama way, when they want returns. But in the Nishkama way, if you have done Upasana and you got a little bit Vairagya and dispassion, you will go in the bright path and you will reach the Brahmaloka. And then shloka number 28, he did the Stuti of the Upasana. It is greater than reading the Vedas, greater than the austerities, greater than sacrifices. Like that, he did the Stuti. So this chapter comes to a close.